Hi everyone and welcome back to the YouTube channel. So in today's video we are going to talk about the trust signals that every therapy website should include. So if your therapy website is getting visitors but not enough inquiries, then the problem may not be your fee. It may not be even your SEO, and sometimes the issue is really simpler than that. Your website may not be giving enough trust signals. So because when someone lands on your therapy website, they are not only asking themselves, do I need support? But they are also asking themselves, can I trust this person? Does this feel safe? Does this therapist seem legitimate, clear, and professional? Do I understand what happens next? And if your website leaves too many of those questions unanswered, then people often leave quietly. Not because they disliked you, but because they didn't feel enough certainty to move forward. So in this video, I want to show you the trust signals that every therapy website should include if you want more inquiries and more of the right people to feel safe taking the next step. So to make this simple, let's define what is a trust signal. So a trust signal is anything on your website that reduces uncertainty. So it helps a potential client feel that your practice is real, professional, grounded, and safe enough to contact. And this really matters even more in therapy than in many other fields, because therapy is really deeply personal, deeply emotional. People are not casually browsing, they are often anxious, overwhelmed, hesitant, emotionally tired, and afraid of making the wrong decision. So trust on a therapy website is not about hype or persuasion. It is about contentment, orientation, about helping the person feel oriented. And many therapists accidentally miss this because you focus so much on sounding warm that you forget to also sound clear about what you offer to your potential clients. So warmth matters, but warmth without structure, without orientation, can still feel uncertain, and that uncertainty will reduce inquiries. So let's talk about the first trust signal, a clear and specific introduction. So the first trust signal is clear messaging, as we saw in the previous video. So when someone lands on your website, they should understand quite quickly who you help, what people often come to you for, and whether your space may be relevant for them. So a lot of therapist websites stay too broad here. They say things like, welcome, I offer a safe, confidential space for healing and growth. That's really the type of example that we can see many times. And again, that is not wrong, but it is not enough, because a stronger trust signal would be something more specific and grounded, like, for example, I work with adults struggling with anxiety, overwhelm, self-doubt, and relationship patterns that leave them feeling emotionally exhausted. So you're describing a lived experience about your potential client. And that kind of wording will build trust because it creates recognition, again, as we saw in the previous video. So it tells the person you may be in the right place. So again, clarity is one of the strongest trust signals you can give to your potential clients, because confused people rarely inquire. So when you are writing something on your website, don't think about yourself. Think about your potential client, about their lived experiences, their current situation, their current struggles, and then you describe their current life. You must use words and language that will resonate with your potential clients. Don't talk about yourself, because in the end, when people are coming on your website, they are not looking for information about you. They are looking for a solution about their current situation. The second trust signal is professional credibility made visible. So this includes things like your qualifications, professional registration, experience, approach, your Google reviews, for example, not in an overwhelming or overly academic view, but just clearly enough that people don't have to hunt for it. For example, your website should make it easy to see that you are trained, that you belong to a recognized body, if relevant, and that your work is grounded in a real professional framework, for example. So this matters because therapy is a trust-sensitive field, as you know. So people want reassurance that they are not stepping into something vague. You don't need to impress them, but you do need to reassure them. So a simple credential section, a short professional bio, a clear explanation of how you work, your Google reviews, and a very warm picture about yourself can do a lot here, especially in markets where clients may already feel confused by titles, modalities, and different kinds of practitioners that are present online. So the third trust signal is human presence. So this means your website should feel like it belongs to a real person and not just and it is not just a template. So a good photo helps, your tone helps, the way you explain your work helps. So you have to understand that people are trying to imagine what it might feel like to sit with you, speak to you, and trust you with vulnerable material. So your website should not feel cold, generic, or faceless. That doesn't mean making it overly personal, because as I said, the objective of the website, your social media, your directory is to talk about your potential client and not about yourself. So it means allowing enough humanity to come through. So a clear headshot, grounded writing, a simple language that resonates with your potential clients can make a huge difference. So the goal is not to look perfect, but the goal is to feel real, calm, safe, and genuine. The fourth trust signal is practical clarity. So this is something very underestimated, and a lot of trust is lost when basic information is missing. For example, do you offer online or in-person sessions? What areas do you work with? What does a first step look like? How long are sessions? What is your fee? How can someone contact you? So when that information isn't clear, then people have to work too hard. And when people already feel emotionally stretched, extra effort often becomes a reason to leave your website. So clear logistics build trust because they make the process feel held. For example, they tell the client, this practice has structure, this person has thought things through, I know what to expect. So that is calming, and calming will increase action among your potential clients. And then something very important that is often missing, a clear next step. So many therapists explain, many websites explain the therapist, explain the work, but many of your websites don't clearly explain what the person should do next. So should they email? Should they book a free call? Should they book a consultation? Should they fill in a form, request a first session? And what happens after that? So even a warm interested visitor can hesitate if the next step feels vague. So your website should make the next step easy to understand and easy to take as well. So not pushy, not aggressive, just clear and simple. For example, if you would like to explore working together, you can book a free call or a free initial consultation here. Or you are welcome to get in touch by email if you would like to ask a question or arrange a first session. So that kind of calm direction and simple direction is really a huge trust signal too, because clarity again will reduce friction. So if your therapy website is not converting as well as it should, don't only ask whether it looks nice, but ask whether it feels trustworthy in a clear, practical, and grounded way. Because trust on a therapy website is not built by design alone. It is built by signals, trust signals, signals of clarity, of professionalism, of human presence, of structure, and signals that make the next step feel safe and simple as well. So that is what will help the right person move from this therapist seem nice to I feel ready to reach out. And that shift really matters because a good therapy website doesn't pressure people. It helps them feel safe enough to take one honest next step if they feel that you are the good fit.